Hello and welcome back to Games Embassy with the Ambassadors of Gaming. I'm one of your army of hosts, the original host, in fact, Ambassador Chris.
And I'm Ambassador Michael.
And we have news about stuff. So welcome to our corner of the internet. Mike, how are you today?
I'm good. It's hot and I'm sweaty as usual. It's Florida life.
That's because you live in America's armpit.
Yep.
And
I live
I
in
am super stressed because I've been applying to grad school.
fair enough.
So,
Yeah, grad school is stressful. I also work in admissions for grad schools, so I understand how that is. It can be quite stressful.
yeah. So, anyway,
Yes, any who's it's.
yeah, banter, haha, that's the good stuff. Okay.
Banter has
Take
been completed. Please proceed.
the fun will now commence.
Please,
Uh
please commence begging for money.
read the Patreon
So, yes, we recently
and
made some.
don't say the word goodies.
I have removed the word goodies from the script. I know how much you did dislike that. Uh,
Yeah, it's a creepy word.
we have a little Patreon page where you can get some cool perks and exclusive content. We recently made some changes over there. We have 2 tiers now. So if you would like to support the show, you can do so over at patreon.com/ambassadors of gaming. You can also do so through Twitch. We're streaming more regularly here, so we're trying to get into the affiliation program and all that kind of stuff. Jason's been streaming over here, so he's been doing quite well. So uh, also go give him a follow if you haven't. It would be super nice. But that's
I
been
like Jason.
I do too. He is a fun man to be around.
He's a school teacher.
He is. Unfortunately in Florida, which means his job is very difficult. So
Yeah. But at least you go home with dinner every night.
that's true.
Uh
At least he gets to eat.
the
Unlike
kids.
what?
Yeah, he's a school teacher. He gets dinner every night.
I was confused. The way you worded it, I was like, "Are you
No,
insinuating that he
he
eats
pull
the children?
no
Is that what you're
he
insinuating?"
pulls an Anakin Skywalker
What?
and slays one of the
Oh my
younglings for
goodness.
sustenance.
Oh my goodness. We're
So
committing libel against our colleague.
yeah.
Anyways, no,
Sorry, Jason.
Jason is a nice man. But yeah, that's it.
Or
So you can
know.
support us monetarily over there if you so choose. If not, that's okay. We have other stuff for you that's free if you want to be a freeloader and all that.
Don't pull a what was it? Oh, what's the Apex Legends? Don't pull a
Yeah.
respawn where they called their players freeloaders for not wanting to buy stuff. I was
You are all freeloaders for not paying $27.99 for our private video.
Yeah, you're all freeloaders for not like, oh, you want this skin, that's fine, but you can only earn 2 out of the 10 items in game.
Oh my
And in
god.
order to get the last item, you have to make sure you acquire all of the other things before you get it.
Right.
So you have, and if you want this, you're spending money. It's
I
happening.
that was the last. I quit Apex when that happened. The second that happened, I uninstalled it and I was like, nope, I'm done with this game.
I
Goodbye.
was like, dude, you guys suck.
Why would you
So
do
anyway,
this?
let's get into our updates, announcements, and other miscellaneous news. I'm going to go ahead and start us off. Mike, I didn't say you could talk. Uh, just I don't talk to Mike very often, so I have to make sure I get in as many hateful
Insults.
things as I can.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So Discord ends its support for its Universal Game Library and its library tab. The company announced via a blog post that it will end support for these features and say it'll be a cleaner, more defined experience for users. I have a feeling maybe they were having issues working with some of the companies, especially now that so many other companies have their own launchers.
Right. That everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie. So
Ubisoft has their own now, right?
I believe so. Yeah, they have their own.
And
EA has their own. Steam
Rockstar is
now.
working on theirs too.
Yeah, and Rockstar has theirs. So
Oh wait, they have one? I thought they were working on it.
no, I think they launched Red Dead 2 on it on PC.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's
I
how
didn't
it
know
worked.
that.
And then it came to Steam like a month later or something like that.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that maybe there was some pushback or maybe it was too much work to get all of the different things to work together. But I don't know. I'm not a game programmer or a
I
developer.
I think this is something you don't really pay attention to much because it's not really something you care about. But like when it comes to development, especially of apps and stuff lately, the biggest problem is that they try to cram too much stuff into it, And also, there's this new design philosophy that started with Facebook of like, okay, we're actually gonna slim this down and focus on one main feature, add in some other stuff, but then we're gonna pull all the other features out and make other apps out of them. Like Facebook has like 7 apps.
Isn't that what they did with Facebook Messenger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they pulled Facebook Messenger out. Facebook Pages is out. It's its own thing. Facebook Ads is its own thing. There's a specifically you can create. I think there's an app for groups, or you can just have like a whatever it is, a shortcut on your home screen for groups, so you don't actually have to go to the news feed. Anyways, it's a whole fucking thing. So this is just modern design philosophy and trying to like make sure performance happens better and blah blah blah. So, anyways, let's talk about our favorite game company. EA had a very profitable year in 2019. The company announced in its earnings call for the third quarter that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order had sold above expectations, a rarity for a AAA game these days. Not high sales, but exceeding expectations. Normally, their expectations fall below that.
Yeah, it's amazing that you can make a Star Wars game that isn't a cash cow heap of garbage.
Yeah, right. The sad part is apparently Battlefront 2 is actually pretty good now. Not that it matters because it's been 3 or 4 years since the game came out, but apparently
No,
it's good
yeah,
now.
Battlefront 2 is really good. There's only been slight complaints over the fact that the people that played early before they took out the microtransactions, they have some of those cards now that other people have to really grind to get. So they kind of always have a leg up on other players, which kind of sucks.
You mean like a pay-to-win type scenario?
Dude.
EA would never.
Yo. Right. Okay, so sold above expectations. Yes. Go on.
The company also announced that it made $993 million in live service revenue, aka microtransactions and DLC, and that's just for the quarter. That's not for last year. The company made $2.835 billion in revenue from microtransactions during the last year.
Yeah. So if you wanted any indication that microtransactions are not going anywhere, that's it.
Did you see the chart?
I don't think so.
It's EA's actual chart. It's fucking ridiculous.
Wait, is it the bar graph?
Yeah, the bar graph.
Yeah, I saw the bar graph. Yeah, it's like you see like these you see like the thinner lines for game sales, and all of a sudden it says for microtransactions, it's just huge.
It's like, yeah, it's a majority of the percentage of. I think this is supposed to represent year-over-year growth. I'm not really sure. The way this is done is really poor. But yeah, the majority of their revenue came from microtransactions.
Dude, I want to know how much FIFA Ultimate Team brought in.
Oh my god.
What percentage of that comes exclusively from FIFA Ultimate Team?
Probably an absurd amount. Like, but that's why when we've talked about it in the past, like that's why EA specifically is so hesitant to remove them. It's because they make a literal fucking killing on it every year.
What do you mean hesitant? They're fighting tooth and nail to not have it removed.
But they backed off in Belgium, I think. I'm pretty sure in Belgium they just took it out.
They had to.
Yeah. Well, they were
Belgium
in court is what they.
Well, not just that, but didn't Belgium pass the law that said it was basically not allowed?
Yes, but also EA was taking it to court to fight the way the wording of the law. And saying like, oh, technically our stuff doesn't fall under these parameters, and then they eventually just gave up the lawsuit once everybody bitched enough to them. So
yeah, okay. So yeah, remember EA is still horrible. So, and speaking of horrible, let's move on to everyone's favorites game streaming platform.
Pretty much.
Google responds to let's call them simple fan complaints about silence regarding Google Stadia. We all know that Stadia has had a really rocky start, and it's like failing to gain traction. I know that Destiny 2's player base has cut in half since launch.
Yeah, I saw that. I think the
on
last
Stadia
active number for the player base was like 20,000 or something like
that
on Stadia.
Which makes for an MMO with matchmaking can kind of ruin it. So an active thread over on the subreddit for Stadia has been calling out the company for the lack of communication regarding features and the games for the platform. It's basically been radio silent for over a month.
Right.
The company said the reason many games have not been announced is due to them leaving it to the publishers to announce their titles on Stadia. This is some BS.
It's a
When
cop out,
they always blame the developers,
pretty much.
like every time when people were complaining how you said with this amount of download and upload speeds, I'd get 4K 60 FPS, and all Google says is go talk to the people who made the game.
Right. They're like,
They're like, they have to support it. It's not our fault.
right.
They have to support it. Go talk to them. And they're doing it again. Saying like, okay, well, leave it to them. They need to announce it. So fans have been concerned due to the fact that the 3 free months of Stadia Pro that came with the platform is ending pretty soon. And I can tell you that I have already canceled.
I don't blame you. Yeah, because like they're just not saying anything, and then they're like, okay, now we're gonna start charging you all, and we haven't told you shit. So I don't.
Yeah.
It's rough. I don't know. I specifically put this in here for you because you and I haven't talked Stadia in a while, and I have no plans on buying it now that I've seen how it got rolled out. So
Yeah, that's because you have half a brain.
yeah, I have the capable,
You have the bare minimum of
Yes,
executive function in your brain to
I
say
I can
I should
barely
not do
think
this.
critically. Yes,
Yeah,
it is a possibility. So the last little bit in the update section is kind of the game announcements, release dates. So we kind of just bundle all the little stuff regarding games in here. So SingStar is officially shut down. They've officially shut down the servers on PS2 and PS3. I don't believe the PS4 version has been shut down. I believe that's still active, but I'm not sure. It's kind of worded here weirdly. So I think the PS3 and the PS2 versions are dead, but PS4 is not. I don't know. Apparently, they launched it on PS4 as like a free-to-play game, and it didn't do well because they charged people to buy the songs, and so nobody wanted to do that.
you're telling me a game that you download for free has things you buy in it?
Yeah, weird.
Reminds me of Doom Eternal.
Pretty much.
Have you did you read about that?
Yeah, they said no microtransactions.
Yeah, it's like a $60 game, and they're like, yeah, there's no microtransactions.
It's because
Holy crap!
it actually has power to be like, fuck you, Bethesda, we're not doing what you want. Or I think it's more ZeniMax. I don't really think it's Bethesda. I think it's more ZeniMax telling them, hey, like we saw EA made billions of dollars last year. Put those in our games. We want to make billions of dollars. You know. So, anyways, Platinum is reportedly set to announce a Kickstarter for the Wonderful 101 on Nintendo Switch and PS4. So this was a Wii U game, I guess. I'm not too familiar with the franchise, but apparently it's been confirmed by multiple sources. And so, apparently, Did You Know's Gaming Liam Robertson confirmed this. That they were going to reveal it on Monday, so they're supposed to reveal it tomorrow, I guess. But
I don't care.
it leaked.
The only thing I want to hear from Platinum is Bayonetta 3.
That's true. I also want to know where the hell Bayonetta.
I want. Did you play 1 and 2?
No, I still need to buy them. Did you hear the joke that somebody made about Platinum with this?
No.
So they're like, why do they need a Kickstarter? They just got a bunch of money from Tencent, blah, 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 blah. And people are like, yeah, but the problem is they only got 10 cents. And I'm like, that's a dumb joke. And I hate
That
you
is
for
a
it.
dumb joke. Mike, you should buy Bayonetta 2 brand new for Switch because it comes with a free download code for Bayonetta 1.
Right, that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do.
Dude, my email application just opened up on my computer by itself.
Oh, that's great. That's
terrifying.
So this is the last news. I think this will be the most interesting to you. Pokemon Home is announced.
Well, not the last in the updates. We
Yeah.
still got to move on to the news section.
We have big boy news later, but this is the last of the intro petty news. So Pokemon Home is officially announced, and it will be launching in February. The service,
which means February 28th.
yes, literally the end of the month, because that's how Nintendo does everything.
Always how it is. Yeah, they say this will release. If they ever say it'll release in the holiday, it means at the very end of January.
Literally the last possible second.
Yeah.
So the service is offering a basic and a premium version. The basic not having many features. It kind of seems more like a free trial, if I'm going to be honest. And the premium subscription is $2.99 a month, $4.99 for 3 months, or $16 for the year. Which, by the way, is more expensive than Switch Online.
Yeah, people have been really peeved about this. I know people have been. I don't so much care too much for this. Like, I mean, how often are we really going to use this service, kind of thing?
Theoretically, once a year.
Yeah. Unless I, so they said that Pokemon Home is going to have more applications, like more things to do in it for like the Pokemon that aren't in Sword and Shield. That
Right.
was how they were kind of trying to, that's how they were trying to pacify people who were complaining that not all Pokemon were in Sword and Shield.
Right.
So they're like, well, there will be use for your Pokemon in Pokemon
The
Home.
National
So
Desk is back. Yeah.
I, I don't know what that means, but I think people are more upset. Have you seen the basic version?
Yeah. I had the list of the features up there. It's basically useless. Like,
It's useless.
yeah, you can't
It's
move Pokemon from
extreme.
bank. You only can
Wait, you
enter.
can't move Pokemon from bank?
No, on the basic one, no. You have to buy the premium to move your Pokemon from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home.
I know that you can only hold 30 Pokemon
Yep.
versus the 3,000,
6,000.
6,000.
Yeah. that's a slightly significant jump.
Yeah, I'm off just by double,
Yeah,
by
right.
half.
You can't
So
judge. What does judge mean? Like you can't like put like the little indicators on your Pokemon? Like is that what the
oh, I
judge
haven't.
function is? I don't know. It says something judge function is not available in basic.
I don't know. I think people are just
I
when
think
you
this is just a
if you
little bit more
don't
expensive than
if you
bank.
don't compare it, the problem is people are comparing it to things. Like
Comparing it to what?
15.99 a year is not a lot of money.
No,
It's
it's
just
not.
not a lot of money. But people are comparing it to like you just did to Switch Online, or people are comparing it. I've seen a lot of comparisons to storage from Google,
Right.
how that's super cheap. And the same thing, yeah, I think like 50, I think like what is it, 100 gigs of cloud storage from Apple's like 99 cents, I think.
Yeah, it's like nothing. Like we
It's
used to
it's
buy
nothing.
Google Drive space, and it was like $15 a month. I was paying for like I don't know. I was getting like a terabyte or something. I don't know. I was getting like
Yeah,
an
and that's a
SSD.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are comparing it to this or that, and yeah, it sucks, but this is the gaming landscape we live in now.
Yeah.
Every company will get there eventually. It's kind of sad,
Right.
but here's Pokemon who's launching DLC for their games, and
Right. I think I don't know. I feel like people wouldn't be as mad if it was like an add-on, or even if they were like, "Hey, actually, we just found a way to. What we're gonna do instead is we're gonna increase the price of Switch Online, but this will come with it." Like, even if they did something like that, I feel like it wouldn't have pissed people off so much. Because it's like
oh,
realistically,
people would have still been mad. People would
yeah,
have been
they
like,
still
"This
yeah
should be a free service." Yeah,
yeah they'll still be
everyone's
mad, but
always so concerned about what needs to be free.
right,
And don't get me wrong, I there are cases like Fallout 76 where uh you buy a full price AAA game
right.
and it doesn't work, and then so what do for their players that's decided to stick with them? They try and sell them
A
some sort
subscription.
of
Yeah,
subscription service in hopes that they can get more money out of the people that stayed. Like I understand that the
yeah,
trashy that things that people don't like,
right.
but unfortunately, this is here to stay. I don't want to dwell on this for too
No,
long.
this is an easy moneymaker for them, so I understand why it's being done.
Yeah,
So
if you want your Pokemon bad enough.
pay up.
Oh, there was one thing about this that I was curious of.
Huh.
So, what if you move all your Pokemon and you have like 600 Pokemon in Pokemon Home, and then all of a sudden, say your credit card like expired and it tries to update and it can't? Is it just gonna throw out all but 30 Pokemon? Like, what
Oh,
happens?
that's a
What
good question.
happens?
I don't. I think what it would do is probably lock everything but the first like 30 Pokemon in the box or whatever. That would be my guess. Because I know like with Pokemon Bank there wasn't a free version. I don't think, at least the one I
No, there
used.
wasn't. It
And
was a whopping $5 a year, if I
yeah,
recall.
like that, and it was manageable. Anyways, so um, with that, when your subscription ended, they just locked you out of your Pokemon. They didn't like throw them away. So I assume
Yeah,
they'll just
well,
lock you
let's
out.
hope that happens and they don't just go, well,
No,
you should have
fuck all
they're
of your
sending
perfectly
loan
cute
shark
Pokemon.
Tom Nook to drown all your Pokemon.
They've been evicted from Pokemon
Yeah,
Home.
they've been evicted from life.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Lord
so I'm gonna
Jesus.
move us
Yeah,
on
go ahead.
to the meat and potatoes.
Sure.
Resident Evil 8 rumors have started to crop up. Multiple sources are making claims that they have details on the unannounced Resident Evil game. The rumors state that there will be a return of Resident Evil 7's protagonist, Ethan Winters, along with the first person perspective returning. Zombies will return to the game as well as werewolves, maybe. I did finger quotes, even though no one can see me.
Yeah.
Take that with a grain of salt, because that sounds not right. The rumors also claim that a new stalker enemy like Mr. X or the Baker family will return, or like the Baker family will feature in the game.
Mhm.
The last bit in the rumor is that Chris Redfield will return. In what capacity? The rumors don't say.
See, real quick. So there's a lot to go into there. Me and Adam have been discussing this like feverishly because we've been playing Resident Evil a lot lately. Actually, he's been going. I think he's working on some stuff. I don't want to spoil if I'm correct in what he's trying to work on. But Resident Evil 7 was very different from all the other Resident Evils. In the major factor being, I believe 4 and 7 are the only games that don't have two campaigns that are like side by side. You know what I mean? I could be wrong. I think 5 as well may have just one campaign, but I believe it has two. And so that was one of the big departures in 7 is there was just one campaign. There was one canon storyline, with the exception of a choice you have to make near the end of the game. And even then, they've canonized that and made the decision null and void for some people. But so if they return Chris and they go back to the two-story kind of branching path, I think it could be really interesting for a lot of people. But the big thing people have been mad about is this werewolf thing. Him and I were talking about it, and he's gone through and he's gone and checked out some of the things, and there's been references to quote werewolves and other features, but they're not what you traditionally think of as a werewolf. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say it might just be like a generalized word.
Yeah. He said, so this is what he told me this morning. He said there were werewolves in the Resident Evil comic books. Jill was assigned to a college because somebody got murdered and there was a werewolf there. She killed the werewolf and then it turned back into a dude. So I guess technically speaking, there have been werewolves in the canon, but they've never shown up in game. And they've also had like zombie dogs and stuff like that. So when I first heard this, I was like, oh, they're probably just going to be like some variation of a wolf that's been infected with a virus or something like that. And they're just like big wolves. Or maybe some humanoid like wolf virus thing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Mike, have you ever watched Zombieland?
yeah, the original, yeah. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Do you remember how he has a fear of clowns? And then he sees a clown zombie at the end of the movie?
No, but I remember, yeah, some of that movie.
Okay. For you, I imagine that the thing that would scare you the most would be if it was a furry zombie.
Ooh, that would be pretty rough, dude. I know we've entered the land of like furries being on Twitch and I'm on Twitter, and gaming actually has a lot of furries intertwined with it. But yeah, so at the end of the day, honestly, I don't really have a problem with furries as long as they're not weird about shit. Like when you were telling me about your experience at when you went to Pittsburgh during a convention or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't so much they were acting fine. For the furries I met were acting fine, but it was the reason I was told. I was told by someone why they weren't allowed in like
In that hotel
my soon to be in-law like my in-law grandfather told us that they were banned from the hotel that he was staying in because they were pooping in kitty litter and leaving it for the housekeepers to clean up.
Don't
That's just not okay.
That's horrible. Don't do that. That's gross. Anyways, yeah.
So
my big thing is spiders, honestly. But yeah. So anyways, what do you think about this? You're not really a Resident Evil guy, so
I'm a fan. I've just I haven't played many shooters that weren't shoot 'em ups. I appreciate them. I just haven't played them. I appreciate that, and I know that was one of the big times that Resident Evil kind of nosedived and people stopped liking it, was when it just became all of a sudden a Call of Duty clone and a shoot 'em up. I do like the whole, having to pay attention to how much ammo you have, making decisions based on that. And,
sure.
so I enjoyed watching Resident Evil 7. I thought it was very well written. I appreciated the departure from the main story.
Right.
I appreciated the whole like, hey, all that other stuff with the zombies and stuff that has happened and it is happening, but there's other stuff happening too. So we're gonna
Right.
kind of show like a different type of enemy here, a different side story revolving around with Umbrella Corporation stuff. It was really good.
Yeah,
I
it was
liked it,
tied
and
together really well.
yeah, it was very very well tied together. I very much hope that he comes back as the next protagonist. I like the innocence of him.
Yeah,
They
he definitely is different than the other characters in Resident Evil.
they try to let's I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. Leon. Yeah,
Leon,
Leon.
yeah.
We see that in Resident Evil 2 when he's a rookie cop.
Mm-hmm.
But he's, so you have that level of innocence there. But I think Ethan has even more innocence because he doesn't have any training like that or anything.
Yeah,
He's just a guy. He's just a regular guy who went to try and save his girlfriend.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think,
Or wife. I can't
yeah,
remember.
I think it was his girlfriend. I don't think they were married, but it could have been his wife. I'm not sure. But anyways, yeah, I liked Ethan as a character. I thought he was all right. And he is a departure, I think, really from the other characters in that universe. So I'm really interested to see how this turns out because I think what'll probably end up happening is we discussed this a bit in the pre-show, but I think Capcom's ultimate goal here is to turn out remakes and remasters of like their older games to make their older fans happy, and being like, hey, like by the way, we're still doing the next Resident Evil, but we're trying something different. We know you love these games and the way that we made these games, but we also want to try that in a different way. So I'll be really interested to see how RE8 turns out if it, when it comes out. The rumor was is that it had to get restarted. And that's why it's so far behind. So this may have been from the pre-scrapped version, FYI. So it's totally possible that none of this shows up, but I did want to give some context there. But yeah, I'm excited for Resident Evil 8. It'll be good when it eventually hits.
Yeah. It'll probably, now that they learned and not to do a shoot 'em up kind of thing.
Pretty much. So
Yeah.
let's move on to more rumors, but these ones are really dumb. So the ridiculous rumor says that God of War, Spider-Man, and Horizon Zero Dawn sequels will all be released in the same year. Okay. I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to take a wild bet and say that this doesn't happen. But let's continue.
That'd be one hell of a launch year.
Yeah,
I
this would
swear.
be
That would be stupid.
this would be
That would
Sony
be
coming out
absolutely
with
stupid.
both barrels loaded, like just releasing all of the great stuff at once. And I just don't know if that's a smart idea. But anyways, rumors apparently started circulating from Imran Khan saying a new Spider-Man game is not that far off. He's previously stated that the game will release in Christmas 2021, so next year after the launch of the consoles. Santa Monica has also been, according to this report, quote, teasing God of War with one of their animators wearing a mocap suit, which usually indicates very early development. And then Horizon Zero Dawn tease came from a voice actor a while back, and there have also been a handful of job listings in 2019. It's important to note that Spider-Man and God of War both released in 2018, while Horizon released in early 2017. So it seems highly unlikely that God of War is ready to go. It's possible, but given the mocap and being in 2018, it seems highly unlikely. Spider-Man, however, might be possible.
Even if it wasn't, let's play devil's advocate here and say that all of these games were ready in launch year
Sure.
for the PS5. That's not a good idea
No.
because there are people, and this isn't a shout on people who play a lot of video games. There are people who just play a lot of games. That's what they do. That's their hobby. That's what they love to do. And let's say when they get home from work, they just play games. That's all they do. This is not a good idea because this is the same thing basically as binge watching.
Right.
If you release a game or if you release a series on Netflix, people watch the whole season in a week.
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, how long until the next season comes out?
And it's like a year.
Like,
yeah.
And it's a year. And all of a sudden people can leave a platform or they can, temporarily leave a platform and come back and pay for it. This is the same thing that the Switch has been doing. Notice they haven't released many big titles all at once.
Yeah, pretty sporadic.
Animal Crossing is like the last, I think, big main series title we're looking for.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe a platform Mario, but they did port the Wii U one.
Yeah, so what was it? Breath of the Wild came out.
Odyssey. Mario Kart.
Odyssey came out. Mario Kart is, I won't say that. I mean, it's probably is a Switch seller, but I'm
It's
trying
still
to
the.
think of.
I don't know if you've seen this, but it's the best-selling Switch game by a lot.
I have seen that, yeah, but there are bundles that come with it
That's
though.
true. That's true.
So it's one of those things. It's kind of like Wii Sports.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, but it came with the Wii.
that's true.
Um, so big, like record breaking. We all know Breath of the Wild was amazing. It
Yeah,
won Game of the Year. Mario Odyssey, amazing. What are some other big
I just
games
saw
that
it.
came out
Splatoon 2
for
came out
Switch?
and did well.
Splatoon.
Um, Shit, there was a lot. I literally wish I had the graphic up earlier. I was scrolling through Twitter and I just happened to come across it.
Yeah, there's Link's Awakening that came out. There's
Did you end up picking that up? I don't think you and I have talked about it, but
what game?
Link's Awakening. I assumed you
Oh
did.
yeah, I picked it up. Oh yeah,
Okay,
right on launch day.
great.
Hell yeah. Um, I even bought the amiibo to make sure I still had a complete Zelda amiibo collection.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
let me.
The point I'm trying to make is that if you release it all at the same time, people can burn through it, and then all of a sudden you
Yeah.
don't have as much traffic on your platform.
Yeah,
You
then it's
want
kind of
you
slow.
want it to you want to stagger some stuff out, and plus, it probably just helps with development in general,
Right. Plus
rather than trying to get.
marketing
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that.
Don't
So
don't release all of your big. Oh, Smash. We forgot about Smash.
yeah, Smash.
Don't release all of your big titles instantaneously because then people will play them all in the first year or the first 2 years and all of a sudden go, okay, when are you releasing something else? And all of a
Right.
sudden, all of your big IP have just released their game, and it's going to be 2 or 3 years until they can release another game. And then that's when you get these huge dry spells where things become indie machines.
Right. Pretty much. And we
So,
kind of saw that with the Xbox. The Xbox was taking pretty big hits on their IP because they just haven't had much in terms of first party releases.
well, yeah, because a lot of games where they originally had exclusives with went and did exclusives with the PS4.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, we've talked about this before. We unpaid exclusives where developers make a game, but they don't want to make it on multiple platforms. They see the PS4 is doing really well, so they release it there. Next thing you know, they didn't pay for an exclusive, but it's a game that the Xbox doesn't have.
Right, like
So,
Persona.
mhm,
Persona is
great example.
I think it sold 12 million the last time I saw. I don't know. It had a lot of sales, so it sold a lot on PS4.
Yeah. So, case in point, you have to make sure you saturate your console lifespan with your big AAA and big IP
I was way off.
titles.
I was way off. I'm sorry. It was 3 million, but
I
that's
mean,
way more than they've ever sold. Like Persona 4 sold way less than that.
yeah.
So and yeah, I don't know. Horizon is definitely possible because it's the oldest one at this point.
I'm not saying that none of them will be
I
released.
mean,
I'm just saying
they're coming.
it's unrealistic that they'd all
Yeah.
release in the same year, whether it's the launch year or the year after.
Well, this
These
rumor,
IP are huge.
the reason why I wanted to talk about this specific rumor is because not only has it been going around, it's also been going around that like this is what's when the PS5 reveal happens, which for some reason Sony still hasn't announced as of the time of us recording. So we don't know when the fuck they're revealing the PS5. They're not going to E3, so I don't know when the fuck they're gonna do it. Apparently, they're just gonna randomly one day be like, by the way, we're revealing PS5 this day. The rumor that this came originally stemmed from that I saw was that all these games were going to be revealed at the PS5 reveal, which again just doesn't. Why would you show all these games, especially if Spider-Man's highly likely to release in 2021 because they already like put in the script for it. I think 3 or 4 months after launch with Marvel, and Marvel's already approved the script, so like it's been in development for a while now. So it's definitely possible, and Horizon should be done soon, but as you'll see later down, and we got one more story. We got two more stories about Sony, and in the last story we have about Sony, you'll see why it doesn't make any sense for them to like release them
Yeah.
all in a year.
I think Horizon would be a very good launch title.
Do believe so as well. I think that would be
Yeah.
probably the best one because Horizon's open world. The one thing it suffered from was like the load times were kind of bad, but otherwise everything else was really good about it, at least from what I remember.
I never finished it. In fact, I basically got out of the starting area and that was
Yeah, I've heard
um
from a lot of people that the controls really put them off.
No,
So,
it had nothing to do with the controls. The
oh,
controls were good. It's just that Breath of the Wild released at the same time.
yeah, that I remember. And you
The
saying that,
Switch had the Switch came out.
yeah, Horizon came out like a month before the Switch launched, and I
Yeah.
don't think you because I had already beaten it by the time we got our Switches. But yeah,
No. Yeah,
um,
excuse me. No, I was I was in early school at the time because I remember I was in Calc 1 when
yeah,
Breath of the Wild came out. I failed an exam because I went to the midnight release.
yeah,
Fun fact.
we all went to the midnight release. Me, you, and Tristan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, we
remember.
all went.
I remember because Tristan was
Um
like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, and then like that day he was like,
and then the
yeah,
hype sank in and he was like, "All right."
the
And
hype got to him.
He went to Target and bought one the next day.
The hype got to him. It was too funny.
Yeah. So, all right,
Anyways,
let's
continue.
move on. Sony polls players on a remote on interest in remote play. On Reddit, the company asked if users would be interested in streaming their games to other devices like the Nintendo Switch or Apple TV. The survey also asked if users would be interested in an offline version of remote play. I don't understand what that means.
Yeah,
Seems like an oxymoron. Uh, the survey continues with questions about having PS1 and PS2 games played via remote play on a quote on the go DualShock that would be easier to carry. Currently, the service works over Wi-Fi if you have your PS4 activated as the primary system.
correct. It does not work
So,
like XCloud over. You can't use data on your cell phone or whatever. Um, real quick, I made a mistake in writing that when I wrote the original story. They did not do the poll on Reddit. Somebody posted their survey that they received
ah,
on Reddit. So, real quick clarification on my part. That was my bad. Um,
idiot.
anyways, yeah, so I actually did double check and scrolled through all of their posts and kind of confirmed of what I was seeing. Um, and I mean, it seems like it might be legit, but yeah, I think Sony's in this weird holding pattern where they're trying to figure out new features and stuff because Xbox is just like, here's new stuff. Here's all the new stuff we've been working on for years that we're now launching. Um, so I think they
I
have to do
mean,
something.
I'm sure Sony, because we've been talking about the new consoles coming out for a while, like, and
Right.
after after the shooting yourself in the foot launch of the Xbox One, Phil Spencer had a lot of work to do recovering that brand,
Yep.
but it's doing really good now. Games Pass is doing amazing. There's never been a better reason to buy Games Pass.
For real.
It's so good.
It's really
What
good.
does Game Pass Ultimate give you?
Game Pass Ultimate right now gives you Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass, but when Project xCloud comes out of beta, that will be included as well in Game Pass.
So it just so you can have your oh my
So good.
gosh. That's such a good
I know.
that's
It's
such a
such a
good
big deal.
thing. That's so
Yeah.
great. That's everything you could need.
Right. They thought
That's
about it.
everything you could need.
The
And
whole
X
idea is they just want you to play Xbox anywhere. They literally want to take the Xbox Play Anywhere thing and just push it to the limit, you know. So
so this whole polling thing might be the first thing in kind of because what do they have? PS Now, which
they have
isn't
PS
which
Now,
is
which is not bundled with PlayStation Plus. They're two separate services. There's no merging them right now.
the
And
quality is also not that great.
yeah, it's not great.
It's not great.
Because I don't, as far as I understand, they haven't made many improvements since they bought it from Gaikai.
No, no. It's been a tack on. It's
Yeah,
been like a hey, if you're interested in that, we have this.
it's been
You
their
know,
half-ass solution to backwards compatibility.
yeah. Where the rumor is, I don't know if this has been confirmed, but I know the rumor is that the new Xbox will be completely natively backwards compatible
Right.
with every previous Xbox title.
That's been my
Xbox
understanding
One,
as well.
Xbox 360, the original Xbox. Like that's a big
Right.
deal.
That's been my understanding as well. Is that well, it's 100% backwards compatible with the Xbox One. Everything on Xbox One will play
Oh, of
on.
course, yeah, because it's still an Xbox One.
Right.
And
Well, technically it's not. Technically they're calling it the Xbox Series X. They're not calling it the Xbox One Series X. I thought it was called the Xbox One Series X, but it's not apparently. But the idea is that everything from the Xbox One transfers over, even your controllers. The Elite Series controllers will work on on Series X, which is great.
It better be. They just
Yeah,
released the Elite Series
exactly,
too.
exactly. So when it comes to this sort of stuff, PlayStation hasn't had anything in a very long time. They also had this big structural change that we've talked about over the last couple of months. And I think Jim Ryan, their current CEO, just has different ideas for what PlayStation is or is going to be going forward than what Andrew House was doing. And the problem is that it's just going to take a very long time, like Phil Spencer did, of getting everything in order and getting it out the door. So I'm very interested to see how this goes because he believes in streaming, and I think ultimately you'll see that PlayStation will follow the Game Pass type model. And I feel like PlayStation
You
Now
think
will,
so?
yeah, I think PlayStation Now will eventually get folded into PlayStation Plus, and they'll offer like PlayStation, whatever the hell they call it, not,
I
and
mean,
I think you'll
it's
still
going to
be able
take
to
some
buy them
time.
separately. I think you'll still be able to buy them separately, but
It's going to take some time. Do you see how long it took Phil Spencer to
yeah,
like
well,
make
that's what I'm
Game
saying.
Pass worthwhile?
That's what I'm saying. But Jim Ryan's also, and real quick, just for the sake of conversation, I haven't put it out there yet, but I actually just finished a video on Phil Spencer and the whole change of Xbox One. So like I like this shit is super fresh in my brain right now. But so he did the same thing Phil Spencer did with the Kinect, where the first thing he did when he came in is like, no, we need to change this right now, and he removed the Kinect. As soon as they gave him the power to do so, the Kinect was out of the box, right? And so they started selling Xbox One cheaper. Jim Ryan's first thing when he became CEO, literally like weeks later, is he reduced the price of PlayStation Now, like immediately, because that's what he believes in. So I think the big problem is that with Sony, they don't have the same level of trust Phil Spencer gets with Microsoft. So I think he has to go through more official channels on the decisions that he makes. So
Yeah, you're probably right. What I was saying earlier, the Game Pass took. I remember when we reported on when Game Pass was first revealed, and we didn't think it was going to be worth it. We were like, "There's no way
yeah,
that people are going to be willing to pay $120 a year for a few games." And now games are launching. Games
right.
are launching
Game Pass, yeah.
on Game Pass, including their first party titles.
Right. And that's what really I think pushed it over the edge because that we both agreed with that. And then when they were like, "Oh, we're gonna launch our titles day and date," I think it was like a year later they announced it. I was like, that totally changes everything. That makes this 100% worthwhile for almost everybody.
Yeah. Does this mean that Halo's like when Halo Infinite comes out, is it going to launch on Game?
Yes,
Like,
it's supposed to launch on
yeah,
Game Pass. Yeah, like
yeah, that's amazing. That's so worthwhile, and it
right.
it, it lets people try out games. We've said this before like 100 times. It lets people
Yeah,
get out of their comfort zone. I might not buy this game because I don't want to pay for it if I might not like it. But if it's on Game Pass, I'll give it a try.
exactly.
Like that's such a good thing, and that could lead to other genres. People buying something that's maybe not on
Game
Game
Pass. Yeah,
Pass. Yeah. So this is something that they need to catch up with
yeah.
because
They need to have a like a some way to compete with it because PlayStation Now doesn't come close, like at all.
mm, yeah, right now I feel like they're still riding a lot of their success from
Oh yeah.
the not everyone's like us and whenever a new version of a console buy it.
Oh
There are
no.
people, especially
There's
my friends, who have their original console. So if they
right.
bought a PS4 because the Xbox One sucked, guess what? This entire generation they've been PS4.
Right. I've told a friend. We have a friend of ours. So his name's Manny. He recently told me that how his Xbox One went kaput. Right. And he's like, well, I'm thinking about just getting the Xbox One X because like I kind of want to get that power upgrade and like he cares more about that kind of stuff now. And I was like, honestly, like you're so close to the release of the next Xbox, I would just wait and just buy the new
Yeah, just wait it
Xbox
out.
and just
Get the Series X.
and then it's backwards compatible. So like, and for your friends who aren't super into this kind of stuff, it's good to let them know so that they don't waste their money on certain stuff. Because like, I don't know. I've told my friends. I think I got a lemon. We've discussed this like a million times. I'm pretty sure my Pro is a lemon. Uh, it sucks. I think some of
Yeah,
that was honestly partly because of the external hard drive I was using. So a lot of issues on my PS4 Pro have fixed itself since I
we
replaced
both
the
have the
hard drive.
Glacier White, right?
Yes, we both have the same model PS4. Um, but as soon as I can trade in my PS4 Pro for like 200-300 at GameStop towards a PS5, I'm just gonna do that because I don't really need
Dude,
it.
I'm so disappointed. That thing collects dust so easily because it's
Yes,
white.
exactly.
It
It
looks
gets super
so
dirty.
disgusting.
It gets super
Oh
dirty.
my. Okay, so but anyway, so this the competition between them now that Xbox is like a real contender at like the, I
Right.
guess you could argue it's not the start of a new generation. You know what we're trying to say. Like
Right. This
it's
generation's gonna meld differently than the last
yeah,
generation.
yeah.
It's gonna
This
be a
isn't
whole
like the
different
half
game.
steps like the Pro or the One X. I mean,
Right.
the One X was a pretty substantial upgrade from the
Yeah,
One.
yeah.
It was.
One
So
hundred
I'm not
percent.
trying to belittle that,
No, no, no.
but I'm eager to see what Sony is going to try and do to keep people to compete with Games Pass. They have to.
Yeah, they
They
have to come up
have
with
to.
something because right now they're getting their ass kicked on that and also PlayStation Plus. There's only 2 free games on PlayStation Plus, and Xbox is giving you 4 every month. So,
Ugh,
and they still
I
haven't
love it.
announced anything new for PlayStation Plus at all.
I've been building my Phil Spencer church for a while.
Well,
So,
the video for that I guess will be out soon if it makes you feel better. A whole video
so
about saying how great Phil Spencer is.
oh, that's
So,
great. All right, why
yeah.
don't you move us on to our last, well, not our last piece of news. I keep
Last
saying
Sony
last.
news. Yeah,
Our last Sony news, and then
we're
we
not
got
phrasing this well.
some
Anyway,
interesting news after that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So PlayStation 5 will have some kind of crossovers with PlayStation 4. Is kind of the what we're getting at here. So PlayStation's gonna release PS4 games on PS5, and you don't have to upgrade immediately to get the first party games. Is kind of what they're saying here. So Jim Ryan spoke to investors saying, "quote For the next 3 years or so, PlayStation 4 will be the engine of SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment, engagement and probability. As we seek to keep the existing owner base engaged and delighted and attract new owners from different markets and different demographics. In this, we will be massively helped by an outstanding roster of new and exclusive games that have yet to be launched." End quote.
That's a lot of business speak.
Yeah, it's a lot of business speak. But the short version is basically they're saying we're not going to alienate PS4 players and not let them play new exclusives because we have the PS5 because that will really fuck us. Basically, is what
Yeah,
he's saying.
especially after like, hmm.
And the thing is the reason why you're not really involved in the gaming community as a whole, seeing like the average person, right? You are involved in certain things. You watch way more YouTube than I do in terms of like critical stuff. So, but the thing about this is that right before this happened, Xbox had said the same thing about Series X, and people were like, "Oh, then why buy an Xbox Series X? There's no point in buying one if I can just play all the games on my Xbox One." And everyone's like, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the whole point, is that they're doing you a favor, and if you want to buy this thing that's going to play the game more powerful, you can, but you don't have to.
There's always going to be people that bark up the tree for the sake of barking up the tree. If you
Yep.
release it like that, and they'll go, well, then why should I buy it
Right.
if I can just play the games I have now? And then that same person though, if you say like, okay,
Sony coming to Xbox Series X.
here's our first Series X exclusive, and all of a sudden that same person goes, what? Like that's so
I
stupid.
just bought an
You're gonna
Xbox One X. You're fucking stupid.
they're gonna be so rude. There's no exact right way to do it, I think,
No, there
but
isn't. This is the best
um,
solution, I think, honestly.
yeah, I think it is too. Especially with that whole thing where Xbox is all about we don't care so much hardware you have, we just want you playing in our ecosystem.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah,
want you to
and
spend money on Game Pass and Gold, and
yeah, and if Sony took the total opposite approach and went like, yeah, you can stay in our ecosystem, but you got to buy the PS5, like,
right, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
yeah.
And
It,
both of these consoles are already designed to be backwards compatible, so technically they'll be running on new variations of PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, but they also are cross network compatible. So
it's almost as if PlayStation's playing a very defensive round of chess with Microsoft and is
right,
kind of like shifting what they're doing in response to the success that Microsoft has had in a few key areas, like we said with
yeah,
Game Pass and with being able to play on varying hardware and
right,
like stuff like that. Almost like they're going like, okay, well, it's working for them, and we don't want to give people a reason to leave us to go to them, kind of thing.
right,
So
exactly. I think one
it's
of the
interesting.
major, I want to confirm before I say this, will not launch on. Hold on. So they talked about PlayStation Now, um, and a while back, and where is it? I believe Jim Ryan, and I could be wrong about this, so don't take this 100% as fact. I saw this and it's been a while and I can't find it anywhere. But I saw somewhere at a point Jim Ryan saying that PlayStation will not follow the same thing as Game Pass and will not launch games on PlayStation Now day and date, which kind of makes it not as nearly as good, in my opinion.
What do you mean, kind of?
Like,
It's
like
definitely not as
right.
good.
And the problem is that right now they're removing their first party titles as well from PlayStation Now, which if as a consumer makes you go, why would I mean, I guess I'll just subscribe to this when the game I want to play is on and then cancel my subscription when it's off or whatever, you know. Um,
Yeah.
Microsoft removes titles from Xbox Game Pass, but not their own titles, not stuff they own. They don't do that. They just leave it there. It's just there, accessible. Now, granted, they have
Yeah.
a more focus on multiplayer, so I guess that makes more sense. But at the same point, like, God of War is being removed, I think, this month or next month from PlayStation Now. And it's just the only way you're going to be able to get it then is to buy it. Unless they put it up on PlayStation Plus, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. So,
So, yeah,
I don't
good
know.
stuff.
It's all weird.
It's not good
Got
stuff at
some,
all.
yeah,
It's stupid.
PlayStation's got some explaining to do. So,
So, yeah, I don't want to talk about PlayStation anymore.
yeah,
Let's move
it's
on.
just becoming a bummer now.
Let's move on to our last piece of news.
Sure. Also a bummer.
It's a bummer, and I don't exactly understand how it happened.
Right.
But I mean, so we'll discuss it here. So, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, obviously coming out in March, early March, said they basically, not they, I'm words. I don't know. Hang on. Animal Crossing: New Horizons, where it's basically only gonna, not basically, it's gonna only allow you to have one island
Yes.
per console, which
Correct.
doesn't make sense to me. So on the official Australian listing for the game, it shows that each console will have a unique island, and that is the limit. Nintendo has not officially commented on the story to elaborate why this decision was made. I don't understand how this works because if you have multiple accounts on your Switch, if I try and say, um, open up Breath of the Wild
Sure.
on an account, it opens up the saves that are associated with that account.
Yeah.
But if I open it up on my fiance's account on my Switch, then my save data doesn't show up. It's like a totally different set of memory.
Sure.
So I'm confused as to how it works with the island. So they're saying that even though there's separate save files, there's only
There's only one island, but separate save files, I guess, for the island.
yeah,
I
I'm
don't
just
really
I'm
understand
very confused.
because it sounds like what the idea is that so there's save certain save data gets put onto the system, but not under a profile, I believe. So
Huh. And I
uh,
guess your island goes there for some reason.
update data. So I don't. It's possible that maybe like each variation of the game just all I don't know, like you plop it in and the first time you boot it up and it like whatever saves to the system that it's just like, okay, here's island number 77643 and that's just it. You're just stuck with that island, I guess. I don't
I
really
mean, there's a
understand.
lot of editing. There is a lot, like they say that, we've seen from the trailers and stuff. You can make your island how you want. You can move
Yeah,
everything
yeah, yeah.
around how you want. It's not going to be a thing like how when we'd play Animal
Previous ones
Crossing,
didn't
when
have
we'd play
much
Animal
of something
Crossing New Leaf or Animal Crossing Wild World, where we keep restarting our game
until you
in an
get the island.
attempt to get a good town set up.
Sure. Yeah, because that shit was annoying.
Yeah,
But
it was very annoying.
I don't know. I it doesn't hinder my excitement for the game because I'm still gonna play it, but it does do because sometimes like when you play Animal Crossing and you've like quote beat it in quotes, you know what I mean? You've done a lot of the like building up your town and like paying off your house and getting your house big. Sometimes you just want to restart and start over again just for the sake of just playing the game and having fun with it. And I don't know how that's gonna work if you just nuke your save, but then you just have the same island. You know?
I don't know. I don't know. It is good though. It's good. It's good if you own multiple Switches. I could see that maybe they only have one Switch.
Right. Wouldn't it be funny if it was linked to like each card or like each download code? So like if you had say you and your fiance bought it, and you pop it in, and you
Oh,
both
that
share
would
the same
suck.
island,
We
maybe
have
not
two
the same
Switches, but
switches.
only one game card, and we pass it, and our island's the same.
Yeah,
That'd
wouldn't that be
suck.
stupid? That would
That'd
be
be
dumb.
that'd be very stupid.
We'll just have to see, honestly. Nintendo hasn't said anything about it, and we're what, a month and a half away from launch at this point. Also, like, man, fuck Bethesda and Nintendo for releasing Doom and Animal Crossing on the same day. That really sucks for me.
Uh,
So, like, it's gonna be a rough weekend for me. I'm gonna be playing a lot of Animal Crossing and Doom. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like they need to talk about it now that people have brought it up and be like, okay, like this is why. At least tell us why, you know?
yeah,
Because at least then it might be like, okay, well this sucks, but at least we know. So I don't know. But yeah, this is
yeah.
weird. Nintendo's weird. It is what it is. Do you have anything else on that?
Only one island per person. Those are the rules. We don't make them.
Tom Nook is super fucking greedy.
Yeah, dude. Tom Nook
Tom Nook
has
is like,
bought.
I own
He's
the means
bought
of
the
production.
land.
I have seized the means of production. I own the island making.
Yeah.
One
The island. I create
Yes,
somehow out of the water where there's just nothing.
Tom Nook has ascended to godhood. So
He's now a celestial being.
I
He was
swear.
just screwing around, breaking people's legs on Earth, but he's going back to like being a god.
I hope this game emulates real life because I don't know. We discussed this I think a little bit, but apparently there's a way for the Switch to send notifications out from games that Nintendo built into the system. And I think you and I have discussed this, but I didn't know that the home button actually had a ring around it, a light ring.
You didn't know that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw. Well, I just found out like a year ago.
yeah, I didn't know
I
until like
was
a couple
playing it,
months ago.
and the light went off, and I was like, "Holy shit! There's a light here."
I didn't know there was one. Period. Anyways, I hope that in the future you'll just see your Switch light blinking. You'll be like, "Oh shit, I have a notification maybe for Animal Crossing." You open it, and it's just like, "Tom Nook, your rent is due."
Yeah, dude, your rent is due. Don't make me send Timmy and Tommy to
I
kill your
hope Tom
family.
Nook just sends me notifications about how much money I owe him at all times, just like Wells Fargo
Yeah. He leaves a guillotine in the middle of town just to make
in the
sure
town
you
center.
know. Yeah, just to make sure you know what's going down. So anyway, this is just getting
Ridiculous.
strange. So
So that's
let's
what
go
we'll do.
ahead and nip this in the butt here. Try and check us out at least once a week, as that's how often we try and do this. You might like what you find.
Indeed.
I have been Ambassador Chris,
And I'm Ambassador Michael. Thank you for joining us.
and we will see you next time.
Goodbye, friends.
We're gone.